Welcome back to Calvin and Show. No,
Well,
hey everybody, this is the show.
That was a terrible start. Wow.
I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the show.
What? Are you going to talk about the show, or are you going to talk about what are you? What? Hey, Marshall, what are you talking about?
Hey everybody, this is Calvin Hobbes. We're here to talk about Calvin Hobbes. This right here, this is him. That's Calvin. He picked up the popcorn store. This is the actual town where Bill Watterson lived. It's called Chagrin Falls. Check it out, guys.
Name for a town.
Yeah.
You started this. I'm not going to say we. You started this with the wildest energy right there. That was. I feel like we need more of an intro.
This is perfect. This is the thing about comic book show, right? Is that you jump right into the middle of the action.
You jump right in.
It's just like reading an old comic book. You don't know what's going on.
If your heart rate is under 120, whether you're recording or watching,
I don't know what's happening.
You're doing this the wrong way.
If you know what's happening, somebody let me know. Comment below. Gamma, comment, let me know quickly.
Dude, I love that Gamma is still here. Gamma, I love you.
Yeah. I see you did put a hat on to hide your bald visage.
Oh, shoot. Sorry,
Yeah.
Gamma. I didn't mean that.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to do that to you.
I'm not bald.
I'm out here. I'm straight tweaking with that thing.
Yeah. The bald guy is still tweaking.
The bald guy. I'm Michael the bald guy who's been tweaking. This is Marshall the hater who hates.
Yes.
Hates
We're here to
everything.
talk about Calvin and Hobbes, the maybe best comic of all time, arguably by a lot of people.
We might argue that today.
I don't think it is an argument. I think we probably agree.
I think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We might make that argument. And since we share the opinion and we're always correct, famously, as you guys know.
Yeah, we're famous for being always correct.
Yeah, obviously.
Everybody says so.
Everybody. So I get stopped on the street.
By who?
By your mom, my mom,
Karen
everybody.
and Linda?
Yes, both of them. And they go, what I'm impressed by is that you're just always right. You always have the correct opinion. I didn't know it was possible, but every
but that's
opinion you
my
guys
mom
hold.
saying that, and your mom Linda is just kind of looking at you angry.
No,
Yeah.
Linda doesn't look at me angry.
Yeah, my mom
Disappointed.
my mom Karen is just being like, "You're so good at your job, Michael. I hope all that the students are your friends forever."
That's true.
And I hope that your comic book show is super successful. And meanwhile, Linda's in the background, just like steaming.
That's not true.
Angry.
They're both telling me how good of a job I'm doing, and they're kind of ignoring you.
Yeah, but
because they're both saints.
Linda is saying it through gritted teeth. Calvin and Hobbes is a foundational newspaper strip comic book. It isn't the first, but it certainly is the one that kind of revolutionized the medium of newspaper comics. I have a lot of research that I did on early newspaper strips.
Yeah.
When Calvin and Hobbes came in, Bill Watterson, his life, what his deal was, and where he's gone since then, and stuff like that.
Totally.
So we can get into all that stuff. But I feel like we should just start by talking about Calvin and Hobbes, man.
Yes.
And what is Calvin and Hobbes to you? What is the Calvin and Hobbes to me? And I mean, first of all, before we even get into that, we need to be better about just setting the baseline about what are the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So this is Calvin and Hobbes. If you haven't heard of Calvin and Hobbes, who are you? Are you a dead person or something? This is Calvin and Hobbes.
Wow.
Dead people are the only people who wouldn't know about it.
And who wouldn't listen to the show?
Or have you not been born yet? Then you don't know, I guess.
You're pre-life.
Are you pre or post life?
Boy.
If you are in media res of life, then hopefully you know about Calvin and Hobbes.
I thought you were going in utero, but then you took a left turn. That's what I thought you were going to go with.
Calvin and Hobbes,
We're
great
on some
album, by the
wild
way.
stuff
Calvin and Hobbes is a newspaper strip. 4 panels on a usual day, and then on Sunday you would get the full page, full color stories. It's a 6-year-old kid named Calvin and his stuffed tiger Hobbes, who you never know for sure, is he actually coming to life or is it Calvin's imagination? It's probably just Calvin's imagination. Yeah. But Calvin is this very rambunctious, imaginative, rowdy 6-year-old kid, and it's just kind of a long-running, like 10-year something, long-running strip about this kid and childhood and kind of wonder and imagination and just what life holds for us. And it gets really serious sometimes, and it's usually very funny. There's a lot of really interesting characters in Mom and Dad, Mrs. Wormwood, Susie, all these other people. Yeah. They all come back and play around in the stories a lot. It's just very good. there's a lot of newspaper strips that even now are just kind of like, content. It's just a thing that needs to be out every day. Garfield kind of lives in that world for me. I've never understood why people think Garfield is funny. It's just kind of a boring cat.
We should compare and contrast with Garfield, because that is,
heavy differences.
We probably share the same opinion on Garfield as well. Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes just sits in a completely different echelon from everything else. Like I enjoyed The Family Circus and Baby Blues and Beetle Bailey, Pearls Before Swine. But they all, some are better than others. All of them pale in comparison to Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think, so the reason why is I think because Bill Watterson is like at his core a writer of like fables. Like I think he enjoys, I think his like specific art form is taking like a really broad thing and showing it through a very narrow lens, which is kind of what fable writers have been doing for millennia. You read Aesop, that's exactly what he was doing in the olden days. And that's kind of what Bill Watterson does too, which it goes a little bit to his, he, in the 80s, he was I think in the 80s, was a
political cartoonist.
Yeah.
So he went to school for poli-sci.
Yep.
And then wanted to be a political cartoonist, or thought that would be his career path.
Yeah.
And then just kind of sucked at it.
Totally.
And was fired from that job before the end of his 6-month contract.
Yeah. His art form would absolutely lend itself to political cartoons if he had like gone that direction with his career long term.
Yeah. And the stuff that he did was good.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It just wasn't like as good. Like he does a lot of satire, and he's a very deep thinker. You can tell that he's very well read as well from the stuff that happens in these stories, the way that Calvin talks. Calvin is named after John Calvin. Hobbes is named after Thomas Hobbes. The teacher, Wormwood, is the junior demon from the Screwtape Letters.
Yeah.
Like, and though he's not himself a religious person at all, apparently, you can see that he spent a lot of time reading philosophy and also like fables and stuff like that.
Totally, 100%. Yeah, and like all these comics, for as many as are just like, Calvin doing something. So he takes his sled down the hill in his backyard and goes off a hill that's way too high for him. And there's dozens of those of just like everyday kids getting into mischief sort of scenarios.
Yeah, crazy snowman
dialogue. Yeah,
imagining the spaceman Spiff stuff.
Yes, yeah, he loves imagining himself as a spaceman, which is so cute. Yeah. And he gets into trouble at school and stuff like that. He's kind of a rowdy kid for the most part. But then there's like, they're intercut with these really dense kind of emotional moments where he learns these great life lessons, again, in 4 panels at a time. It's like kind of crazy how much it feels. My best comparison would be like Bluey nowadays. Bluey is like these 5-minute episodes where there's these huge life lessons that these kids learn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you could say that probably with a ton of like different kids things, but this is, it's just like these very simple one-shots of just learning about life through the eyes of this kid and his imaginary friend, and sometimes like it comes through different mediums too. Like sometimes Hobbes has something really important to say, or sometimes Calvin's parents deliver something, or Calvin and himself, he's weirdly verbose for a 6-year-old.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same thing as Peanuts. Like he's not written as a 6-year-old a lot of the time. Yeah. Like he's a very smart, like he's got a very big vernacular. Yeah. That's a word that he would probably use.
Yes, it is.
He's a very smart kid, and he talks about some of these ideas the same way, like Charlie Brown going to Lucy's booth and talking about the meaning of life and stuff like that. And it's funny because they're kids, but also they're actually kind of talking about these ideas.
Yeah.
There is a good amount of that in these books, and sometimes it's taken more seriously than others, but even it's like looking at Norm Macdonald bits and the kind of random stuff that he picks out is like, it's all for the joke, but you can tell that the things that he's pulling from are like Dostoevsky and like weirdly like intellectual things. So like it'll be the regular 4-panel strip or the Sunday full page, and it'll just be jokes. There's nothing serious in there, but the references that Watterson is making are these very like deep cut, like intellectual literary things.
Totally.
Which is like, it just gives it such a unique voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, that's why I think that's what sets it apart. I think from any other like newspaper strip that I've seen.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, while Garfield, I'm gonna pick on Garfield.
Where's my pipe?
I'm sorry if you're big Garfield heads, but yes, they are. Garfield is a comic strip that just recycles the same 4 jokes every single week or every single day, whenever it is, and it's just not like it's. Whereas Calvin and Hobbes, you know, is going through like it looks like genuine slice of life things that teach actual like lessons and have morals.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what makes them fables, right? Which is why I think it's so good. And again, yeah, there are these returning characters that are somehow really, really endearing. Like Calvin, I think of Calvin's kind of rival at school, Susie, who, you know, he picks on all the time. But even then, it's like there's like stories in there of like redeeming like tricky relationships and stuff like that through Calvin and Susie, through these children, you know, and it's really moving and meaningful. And yeah, I don't think a lesser writer could have done anywhere near as well. And I think that goes to just Bill Watterson's singular vision on it. Yeah. And he's a really, from what I've read about him, he's a really like, determined and like disciplined artist, and he like keeps a really tight grip on his work.
He's an artist first. Like he really sees this as an art form. Yeah. Like before anything else. I have a lot of notes of like quotes of his and talks that he's done at conventions and stuff like that. Yeah. And he really is all about the art, all about the story, which is why he famously like refused to ever do any licensed merchandising ever. Yeah. You still can't buy like a Hobbes plush doll or anything like that. Yeah. All of those Calvin like car stickers that you see of like Calvin is peeing on the Dodge badge or something. Yeah. All of that is bootleg. Yes. Because he just absolutely saw this as a pure art thing and not as a merchandising opportunity. Like he very much, I think, sees himself kind of not necessarily in the same level as these great thinkers that he seems to very much admire, but that's the kind of thing that he aspires to, not as much as like, you know, you would see the Peanuts characters are everywhere. Yes. You know, you got Snoopy doing advertisements for MetLife and stuff like that, and insurance, whatever. Yeah. Bill Watterson didn't want any of that. He had no interest in any of that. Yeah. And he also just like had zero interest in celebrity. Like he's kind of a recluse a little bit. We don't really actually know that much about his life or what he is doing now necessarily. Yeah. He's a really interesting man. He's a really interesting, strange dude.
To be honest, I thought he had retired until a couple years ago when he came out with a new book called The Mysteries that we are going to talk about next week.
And I think that he largely has. Yeah. Like he does stuff for like benefits and for charities and whatever, but he doesn't really do like published work anymore that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I think everything in the newspapers nowadays is like kind of reruns, so to speak.
And I mean, are Calvin and Hobbes in the newspaper still?
I haven't read a newspaper since like high school. But in high school, he was in
Let's go to the Journal Star.
Let's go to the old Omaha Public or Omaha World Herald.
Let's go to the Omaha Star World Public Herald.
Thinking about me as a teenager reading a newspaper is like kind of crazy to me to think about now.
Yeah. It was interesting for me, backing up a little bit to like what Calvin and Hobbes means to us a little bit. We talked on like the first episode of this show about what like got us into comics, why we like this medium and everything like that. And I think that like the story that I usually tell, that I usually talk about is that I really liked Spider-Man cartoons, that I was always drawing, and then those things kind of intersected eventually. And then I started reading superhero comics more intentionally in like high school. Maybe middle school. I think I started reading Ultimate Spider-Man in middle school, and then I was reading Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder's Batman in high school. But I didn't even remember that I had this foundation of Calvin and Hobbes before any of this stuff, until you suggested that we talk about Calvin and Hobbes on this episode. And then I remembered that I had these books growing up. These two ones that are sitting here, these are my childhood Calvin and Hobbes tomes.
Yeah.
Like these things are beat up because I read them through and through over and over and over again. And then going back and rereading these, I'm like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
As an artist now too, because I wasn't that deep into that world when I was reading these, looking at Watterson's lines, like I wrote tons of notes on Watterson's actual art.
Totally.
Because they're just it's incredible.
Yeah.
I wrote here, Watterson's line work is loose and deeply expressive. Most newspaper strips are very simple in look, if only because of the need to do so many strips a week.
Yeah.
Watterson works in full detail with extremely expressive gesture and line work. Gesture, for people who don't know, in the art world is like the pose, the movement. That's the gesture of the character.
Yeah.
Let's see, where did I leave off? His lines have a dynamism not matched by anything else found in newspaper strips. His inks have large variation in line weight and feel free. Reminds me a lot of David Mazzucchelli.
Do I know him?
That is the man who did Batman Year One.
Oh.
So the way that he works is very much extremely loose. I can insert Batman Year One artist edition here.
With the binder.
So there is the artist edition that they did for Year One, where you can see sorry, I got to pronounce it correctly. He's Italian. Mazzucchelli. It's not Mazzucchelli. It's Mazzucchelli. Yeah. He works very loosely with the pencils and does a lot of the work in the inking. I haven't seen Bill Watterson's pencils, but I would be surprised if he didn't do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because how loose and how expressive his lines are feels very like the way that Mazzucchelli works.
Interesting.
But in a much smaller form factor.
Yeah.
And like these extremely expressive characters that are not in like simplified forms. They're still very detailed, but you're getting just enough to get like the form that you want to see. Like I just, even comparing it to Peanuts, like Schultz is like, if Bill Watterson isn't the top, it's Charles Schultz.
Yeah.
And who even I saw did the foreword for this book. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Being a guy doing a newspaper strip and then the guy who invented Peanuts does the the foreword for you. That's crazy.
I love that.
But even his stuff is kind of simplistic. It's very expressive still, but it is kind of beginning to be in that world of much more simple drawings that then when you get to stuff like Garfield or Family Circus, whatever, it gets a lot more simplified.
Yes.
Where Calvin and Hobbes follows in the tradition of stuff like Pogo, Crazy Cat, which is the stuff that, I mean, would have been long running by the time that Watterson started reading newspaper strips, if I'm remembering right. And it's like super detailed stuff, super lush. And it's really interesting seeing his kind of evolution of that form. And then also seeing the panels every once in a while where he does full, intensely detailed stuff. Like there's, you know, with Calvin's imagination, stuff happens all the time that's crazy. So there's a full detailed Tyrannosaurus Rex because Calvin's on the playground and he's imagining that he's a T-Rex terrorizing all the kids who are small dinosaurs. Yeah. And it's just super realistically rendered dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it really is a great example of how knowing how to do all of these things, all of these very accurate anatomical forms and stuff like that allows you to then take those things and break them down to their base parts. Yeah. And that's what Calvin and Hobbes is. Yeah. Like it's Watterson doing this incredible work and then disseminating that down into what is still very beautiful stuff. Yeah. Schultz's forward there talks about how he draws very beautiful tables and very beautiful sleds and all these different things. Yeah. And also the stories are good. Yeah. But like these are things that make it good. And you don't consider that when I'm talking for a long time. You don't consider that when you look at something like Garfield. Yeah. Sorry, Garfield.
No, I'm not sorry to Garfield.
Or like just all these other comics where it's just kind of like these other parts of the scene are there because they have to be there. Yeah. In this, it's part of it. Like and it's expressive. You even look at this opening door. Yeah. Like you get the impression that it has been blasted open. It's just gorgeous stuff. Yeah. And the colors, watercolor, a beautiful watercolor. Yeah. Not some kind of very pristine digital flat color. It's painted.
Well, by
like,
contrast,
it's just
even,
amazing.
Yeah, and like that's, this even contrasts with it, but is similar, where he's like, Calvin and Hobbes are both on their little sled, and like you can see movement without like he didn't need motion lines, but you're seeing like Hobbes's fur being blown back and stuff like that. Like you obviously what a sled does, it goes.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
that's the gesture
it's a beautiful,
too.
simple thing. Yeah.
So what you can see, we'll get into artist mode here.
Yeah, do.
What you can see here, I am assuming that we're on screen. I can zoom in. I mean, we're on the wide. It'll be good enough.
Yep.
What you can see here, you've got the slope coming down. It's a really good composition because you're leaving space open for the title. Right about halfway through, you get that, and then 1/3. If we're working in thirds.
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes are right on the top third.
Yep.
And then you get the gesture, which is the through line is going like this. So when you're thinking about the motion of your figure, you need to think about what this through line is. There should be a single line that's kind of showing the motion.
Yeah.
And right here, you're getting that very clearly through Hobbes. And then it kind of comes down that way a little bit. But you're getting that reinforced by the hill. You're getting that reinforced by this shadow.
Yeah.
And it all just like, even down here, the same kind of thing. Like you're getting all of that implied motion very easily. Even if Hobbes's hair wasn't moving back, you'd still be getting that.
Yeah.
But the cherry on top is that, Hobbes's tail is kind of in the back.
Yeah.
His hair is flying back. And the same thing with the little puff on the top of Calvin's hat there.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic.
And this little brook down here. Like that doesn't ruin the flow. It enhances it, even though it's going in a different direction.
At all.
Yeah,
if you even think about it, it's following that line.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's following the curve all the way through.
100%. It's so beautiful.
It's just like these simple compositions that they just work. It just drives me crazy how good this stuff is. Absolutely. And I didn't realize how good it was until I was like rereading it here and now.
Sorry.
Because they're just, man.
Yeah.
And you can see even here like the really thick lines on these trees contrasted with Calvin and Hobbes, or like little smaller details that are a bit more impressionistic. Like there's a little bit of Eisner in here as well that I can see like having, like we just did the episode a while back, Deep Cut Comics.
Yes.
We talked about Contract with God by Will Eisner. There's a good amount of Eisner in here, the way that these lines are, again, very loose and free.
Yeah.
It's just incredible stuff.
Yes, and it all tells the story.
Yeah,
that's the other great. Like like it's not art. It's not art and story, or it's not. I don't know how I'm trying to say that. They're not separated. They live together. Yeah, and they serve one another. It's such a gorgeous thing to have in such a, what seems like it should be a. And maybe this is another reason why it stands out so much. It should be a really, really simple medium of newspaper comics. It's like there, that feels lowbrow maybe, or like, like it's not some like necessarily high class. I'm not trying to be like disparaging or anything of
no, but you're right. Watterson would agree with you.
Yes. Yeah. It's like an accessible to the masses sort of thing. It's not necessarily, it's not meant to be in a gallery, but they could be.
But it has become that. It didn't used to be that. Even by the time that Watterson started doing Calvin and Hobbes, it had started to become like the amount of space that was taken up or that was allowed to be used in the newspaper by the funnies was getting smaller and smaller. Yeah. And by the end of his time on Calvin and Hobbes, it was extremely small. So you wouldn't get these large full page. I can't even imagine what a full page single comic would have looked like in the newspaper. That's crazy to me.
Totally.
I never have seen that.
Yeah.
But then you get these full pages in here, and that was in the newspaper.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So
when I was originally reading this, I had no concept of that. I thought it was for the book, and that these other ones were like from the newspaper, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if those were the Sunday ones, the full pages. If that was like, because
that was the idea. So on the Sunday ones were the big ones that he would put a lot of extra effort into. They would also be full color.
Yeah.
Where the other ones during the week would not be.
That's so cool.
So I have some notes. Yeah, so comics used to have a lot more space, sometimes a full page of the paper. By the time Calvin and Hobbes came around, it was already shrinking. The Sunday strips were the ones that still had more space, so Watterson went very intense on them. Watterson talked, in an essay? Yeah, so he did a speech at a convention that I think still happens every 3 years. It's a very official title, something about cartoonists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He did a speech called "The Cheapening of the Comics," and this is the quote that I took out from that. It's a long talk, but it's worth reading. It was really interesting.
For sure.
He said, amazingly, much of the best cartoon work was done early on in the medium's history. Those early cartoonists with no path before them produced work of such sophistication, wit, and beauty that it increasingly seemed to me that cartoon evolution is working backward. Comic strips are moving toward a primordial goo rather than away from it. As a cartoonist, it's a bit humiliating to read work that was done over 50 years ago and find it more imaginative than what any of us are doing now. We've lost many of the most precious qualities of the comics. Most readers today have never seen the best comics of the past, so they don't even know that what they're missing. Not only can comics be more than we're getting today, but the comics already have been more than we're getting today.
Man.
And if you look at where newspaper comics are now, he's right. Like, I think I really wonder how much of it is even new stuff and how much of it is just syndication, where you get Zits and it's just being done again and again and again.
I forgot about Zits.
And I mean, and Zits is a better example here. Yeah. Like, Zits is higher up on the list and is even co-created by Bill Watterson's political cartoonist mentor, whose name I can't remember right now, Jim Borgin or something.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so he was the guy that he worked under at that newspaper that he got fired from. Yeah. And then he eventually co-created that comic with another guy. And it feels very similar to it's kind of a grown-up neighbor a little bit to Calvin and Hobbes, just in the sense that it's a teenage character and it's the mom and dad and stuff like that. But like, I would be surprised if that was still getting new material.
Right.
The same thing like Beetle Bailey, I'm sure, is not getting new stuff. Garfield. Yeah. Are there new Garfield comics?
I have no idea.
I don't know. But it's just a thing that doesn't really exist anymore. Mm-hmm. And part of that is just because of the internet.
Yeah.
Where when Watterson was doing it, he kind of had to fight for control of his stuff. Yeah. Because this was the only way to get this kind of stuff out. It was the only medium. Now we have the internet. Yeah. And if you wanted to make your own creator-owned thing, you can.
Totally.
You can just put it out. You can make a webcomic. Yeah.
You can for our audience, you should do
on
that.
the Instagram. Yeah. It's already a square. Yeah. Like, there was a guy that I was following, I don't remember his name, a few years ago. Marshall, find that and insert that here. Who did a few panels a day of this comic that started out as like a kind of funny version of the Seventh Seal, where it's the knight, the Max von Sydow character playing chess against death, and then they kind of leave that scene eventually and it becomes this long thing, and it was really good. Yeah. But I was literally reading this, consuming it like a Sunday or like a newspaper strip daily. Yeah. Which is just not something that exists anymore.
But I would love to go back to it, That would be it's I think it's just like the way that the medium was. I mean, we talk about adaptation a ton on this show.
The movie?
No, yes, but no. The concept of adaptation in general into movies, into TV shows, everything like that. I think that what you're talking about, though, and that format of like the, like day by day or even week by week releases of a print medium that is accessible to everybody and that sort of thing. I just think that that's what was meant to. I think that's like how these were meant to be. That's absolutely how Calvin and Hobbes was meant to be. Yeah. And that's like we talked about, why Bill Watterson is so actively against adaptation and against selling the rights to, like, as I was reading these in preparation to talk about it today, I was like, how have I not, specifically in my head, I was going, how has Illumination Studios not taken Calvin and Hobbes? Because it seems like that would be their exact thing they'd want to ruin.
Sure. I mean, I can't remember what studio did the Peanuts movie recently. It was actually very fun.
That might have been them. I didn't see it.
I don't think it was, because it was a very faithful visual adaptation of Schultz's work.
Yeah, true.
Which would make me surprised if it was Illumination, because they kind of illuminatify everything they do.
They touch. Yeah. Horton Hears a Who. They get a lot of the Seuss stuff. You know what I mean?
Was that them?
Yeah, they did Horton Hears a Who. I'm pretty sure.
That would have been pre-Despicable Me.
Fact check me. But yeah, they did that. They got The Grinch. They got...
Lorax.
The Lorax.
Yeah, I guess that would have been them. That's crazy.
Yeah. Again, they make good movies for sure. But with this, it's like the vision is for it to always be this and never be anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's just so. And again, Watterson will fight tooth and nail for it, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's why the Charlie Brown stuff is such an anomaly.
Yeah.
Because those cartoons and even this most recent movie are remarkably well recreated versions of Schultz's work.
Yeah.
There's the stuff that's on Apple now that's very much like a cheapening of it, a lot more so. Like it's the Snoopy show, and we love Snoopy, and it's great, and it's fun, but it just kind of is more stuff.
Yeah.
The recent movie they did was really cute, and it was really fun, and it somehow managed to take Schultz's work and translate it into a kind of 2.5D visual thing, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And it translated the feeling of his work really well. It translated the words and the writing really well. But that's so rare.
Yeah.
To get something like that then you get such a faithful, good adaptation of. And I just don't see what that would be with Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah. I'd be so curious too. Like if we were sitting here in the 50s, 60s, whenever it was pre-Peanuts cartoons, because I grew up on,
Charlie Brown Christmas, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's the Great Pumpkin.
Great Pumpkin,
Brown. That was a great one. I used to watch that every year. I got a rock. I wonder if we had not grown up with those, and if we had just grown up on the comics, if we would feel similarly about those the way we feel about this. That it's like it should just be these one shots, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I don't know.
I don't think we would. I think that Calvin and Hobbes is smarter than Peanuts in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I feel like Peanuts is somewhat simple compared to Calvin and Hobbes, and it's still like well above the rest of the crop. But there's just something about it that feels like it should be turned into cartoons and stuff. Yeah. Like it feels like it is directed more at kids, whereas this is kind of an everybody thing. This is kind of an everybody thing. Like literally every time I talk to somebody working up to this episode about, oh, what are you doing next? Oh, we're doing one on Calvin and Hobbes. They're like, oh, really? Like people are excited. People that would never tune in for a Superman episode or Spider-Man, like the most popular possible cape characters.
Yeah.
Will probably listen to this one.
Yes.
Because it's like they love Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nostalgia thing for them.
Yeah. Which is weird because I wrote in the Discord with my art friends, can't wait to, I sent them the thumbnail for the episode. Yeah. I said, can't wait to alienate our entire audience by talking about not a superhero comic book.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be interesting to see how this does perform and who does end up listening to this thing. And if you're here, I would love to hear what your kind of like origin story is with Calvin and Hobbes. Where did that come from for you? Like I grew up reading these books. Yeah. We haven't mentioned it yet, but my dad made this stained glass spaceman spiff for me that was hanging on my bedroom window my entire like childhood life.
So good.
I can try to shine a light behind it here. Woo! 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 Doesn't work at all.
It doesn't work even a little. That's
just imagine that it's really bright and pretty.
It's beautiful. It is.
Yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. Let us know.
Totally.
Doom, if you're there. Gamma, tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Skylar, hopefully he still listens.
Isaiah subscribed today.
Isaiah Pomeisel.
Yeah.
What a guy.
He was here for Labor Day to visit his family.
Studly man.
Saw him give him a big hug.
Love that dude.
So say, hey, you handsome guy.
Eric Keel, I hope he still listens.
Eric. What a man.
All our friends. I love these. I could talk about these books, I think, all day.
Do it, coward.
I will. I have for the last hour.
That's true. Has it been? I don't know how long we've been going, man.
The exact right amount of time.
I think so. I'm going to check my notes real quick, see if I didn't forget anything.
Yeah, make sure you got everything that you... all I was going to say was next week we are going to talk about Bill Watterson's much more recent, I think his most recent production.
Yeah, his
called
only...
The Mysteries.
It's the only thing he's ever really done besides Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes, very, very different, but also very much his brand, his his voice comes through a lot with it, even though the tone is all different.
Yeah.
I think everything is different except for Watterson's voice coming in throughout.
Yeah, you get that same kind of very deep thought, philosophical, like, it's interesting.
Yes.
I have some notes here, and I did a lot of looking at what other people were saying because I had to really take some time to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it seems maybe fairly basic on the surface, but there is some interesting ideas to talk about. That'll probably be a shorter episode because it's a very short book. Like, you can literally read this in like 5 minutes. You should take longer and look at the pictures and really absorb it. But it is, 1 page, 1 sentence. It's described as a fable for adults, and it's quite good.
Yep, absolutely.
It's very interesting.
Yes.
So I don't think I have any other special notes necessarily.
That's all good.
But we talked about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, guys. Calvin and Hobbes is one of the comic books of all time. If you've ever heard of a comic book, this is one of them.
Yes.
And
it's great. It's very
worth checking
accessible
out.
to you. Go read it. It's just, you'll feel kind of warm and fuzzy. You'll feel cozy when you're reading Calvin and Hobbes, I think.
Yeah. If you haven't read Calvin and Hobbes, again, are you alive? Are you pre or post life? Because it doesn't make sense that you would not have read Calvin and Hobbes. And check out the library because they definitely have it.
They absolutely have it. And support your local library, please. Get comic books there. It's great.
Or burn it down.
Jeepers, criminy. That is not... We don't...
I'm not endorsing it.
That's the first opinion that we haven't shared throughout this whole episode.
Not my opinion. Just giving options.
You did endorse it.
I didn't say
commanded
you
it, as a
should
matter of
do
fact.
this.
You
I said this is another thing that could happen.
You must do this.
You must hear that it is a possibility.
The cops are on the way
to burn down the local library.
For arson.
Walt Branch, watch out. Okay.
This has been great. This has been Tales from the Long Box. Go look at Marshall's artwork. Marshall makes art.
Here's 3 of those things.
Here's 3 of those.
Boom, boom, boom. Pretty good. I drew all of those. They're pretty good. You can check those out at the link in the description if you want to buy them. And also, I do commissions, so you can message me any one of the places that you can message me and check it out. Michael wrote a book. It's about poetry. It's not about poetry. It is poetry. Boom. Marauders. It's got stuff in it.
Your boom was way late.
My boom. I'm going to use my boom and not your boom.
Boom.
You just boomed for no reason. 5 big booms for Michael's book, Marauders.
Oh, you made me
boom. Boom. Boom.
He's going to do all 5.
Boom. Boom.
Wow, you committed to that in a way I've never seen.
It's pretty good.
Before.
I like that double, triple chunk chocolate cookie. And if you really want a double, triple chunk chocolate cookie, you can check out Michael's book, Marauders. It gets 5 big booms. Boom. Boom.
We got 5 more.
Boom.
This is great.
Boom. Boom. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. I correctly guessed that there was one about pirates last time. I vaguely remembered it.
Remember another one now. What do you remember?
There's one that's like a bird.
There is one about a bird.
Yeah.
That feels like, was that just a generic poetry guess?
A little
poets
bit.
write about birds sometimes.
A little bit, but also I remember it a little bit.
You cheated, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
I still need to get myself a copy. Somebody buy me a copy.
Can you believe he hasn't even bought my book? Bad friend.
You think I have?
Bad friend.
Insert amount of money. Marshall, insert the amount of money here. Cool. Now we know we know how much it costs.
Pretty affordable.
God?
For most. Thank you, God.
Free Michael's books for everyone?
Oh, heavens.
Everyone, look under your chairs. God has Michael's book.
You get Michael's book, and you get Michael's book.
There's no one here. Thanks, everybody, for being here. The comic books are really cool.
They're really cool. Keep reading them. Keep reading comics, and we love you.
Good luck.